Uh, okay, welcome, Helene, Shalom Aleichem, and Dave.
Hi,
Dave,
Dave.
I'm going to respond to your rather long comment about from the Spectator. I'm getting around to it.
No, no, everything you've
It's a
done.
tall order. You and I are really dealing with the toughest situation, I think, at
Right.
any university, any time in the history of academia, going back to University of Pisa in the 13th century. We-
Well, I don't mean to press you. I know how busy you are, but thank you.
Let me turn up the sound here. Go ahead.
I
Yeah.
said, I don't mean to press you, but I know how busy you are. So
Well, I
anything you squeeze in, thank you.
Hey, look, look, I have as much skin in the game. You have 7 years. I have 8 years at Columbia. And that's more skin than probably any of these trustees have
Right,
had serving as trustees.
right.
Yeah. What do you think is correct? Okay, let's get started. After hours, I'm glad to discuss any political. I'll listen to a political issue. I'm not necessarily respond to it, but I will listen to your issues. I mean, we have a lot of issues, and what I'm very happy to say is that we can. Barbara, welcome. Barbara, welcome. Everyone knows Barbara Hutnick. We went to high school together. Dave, this lady here, come here, come in front of the screen. We went to A.B. Davis High School together,
Unbelievable.
1955.
Wow.
We,
We graduated in 58
we
though.
graduated in 58.
Right.
Her family are the top of the bakers in Connecticut. They can write a history of the bakery business and also the aviation. The Aaron, your cousin flew a dirigible. He flew one of the first
Wow.
dirigibles to Paris. I know that's your
I
cousin.
made a copy.
Okay. So really what I'd like to do today is for us to gather together, which we are, and celebrate its National Women's Month. And we do have a number of ladies here, and we supposed to, and Helene, and I invited a media specialist who lives in Florida. Maybe she will. I invited her. She's very interested, so maybe she'll show up. But we have a lot on our plate, from profit to profit. What I'd like for us to answer today is really, what is the value of prophecy? What can we learn from these prophets? What is the difference between the prophet Isaiah of 700 to 800 before the Common Era and the prophet Pushkin? Now, Pushkin is an amazing guy. As I have uh, told you guys, he is a poet, he is a novelist, he is a statesman. He is an aristocrat. Um, he is an essayist. This man has worn many hats, and he is who he is. He's one of the founders of Russian poetry, Russian literature, because he was talented at a very early age. He was talented, uh, and an aristocrat. So Isaiah and Pushkin have the in common that they are aristocrats. There's no doubt that Isaiah came from an aristocratic family. No one knows exactly who they were, but all of the scholars I've read indicate that he is an aristocrat.
Also Cohen.
He is a Kohen. Okay. All right. Uh, that doesn't put him above sinning. Okay. Doesn't put him above sinning. Okay? Yeah. I mean, it's very sad because our chief Kohen, as we learn in the Parsha for this week, we read the Parsha called Tisa, which begins with the half shekel counting. How do you count? And you count by everybody participating, which is a beautiful idea that in Judaism, the aristocrat is not necessarily the one that gives the most money. It's somebody who contributes towards the overall kahal, the overall congregation, so that we have a unified people. So that's the kitisa, and there is a connection between the parsha of kitisa and what we'll do today, and hopefully we'll get there. I don't want to jump ship, but I do want to review very quickly and thoroughly where we're at, and that is that. Having mentioned that we are celebrating National Women's Month again, we are towards the end of Isaiah chapter 6. and a quick review is Isaiah is in the courtyard, the Holy of Holies. He's not in the Holy of Holies, he's in the courtyard. And there's an image of God. Now, no one can portray who God is. I mean, these poets, and we have amazing poets in Hebrew. They portray God in the highest elevation on a kisei hakavod, a beautiful throne that's elevated above us, and he has all the glory. And they try to anthropomorphize him, but we really can't. But here's Isaiah looking up, and above him is the Godhead in all his glory, shining bright, of course, and he has a beautiful shawl that covers the temple. Now, I did did more reading about the shawl thing, and that one of the scholars of the 19th century, it could have been the famous rabbi from Frankfurt, said that the shawl basically is on the edge of the Beit HaMikdash. It doesn't really cover it, so you don't get full coverage, and that symbolizes what it symbolizes, that the Shekhinah, God's glory, is being removed from the temple. All right, that's pushing a little bit, but I'm glad that these rabbis they go in all different directions. But that's exactly the direction that Isaiah is going in, is that the glory of our people is being diminished. And basically, he is told by God that you have to tell the people that they are corrupt. You'll talk to them and they won't listen to you. They'll shut their ears on you. This is a very retrograde people. It's almost like a tochacha, which is an admonition at the end of Leviticus. There's a long, many sentences. It was my parsha of what will happen to the Jewish people if they don't listen to the chukim and all of the ordinances of God. We're talking about the Haftorah talks about, and also in Leviticus, in the portion Bechukotai, and there's another one further on, there is the same type of gloom and doom, what's going to happen to the people. The land won't produce anything, your children will die, and you'll have all kinds of tragedies happen to your families, etc. So, and then we have the angel coming in, the seraphim. There are these groups of seraphim. They are the most numerous of the heavenly hosts, shall we say, and they are chanting the Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. It's the holy, holy, holy. And at the same time, they're full of fire. And one of the seraphs comes up to Isaiah and puts a coal on Isaiah's mouth. And that symbolizes purification, because Isaiah says, "Who am I?" Like Moses called upon at the bush to serve the people. Who am I? I'm just a shepherd. David's just a shepherd. Who am I? The tussle with Goliath. Okay, so Isaiah very reluctantly says, Hineni. Okay, that's the magical word of acceptance, that whatever God says, you will do. Okay, anybody? Yeah, and I think you mentioned that last time. Hineni, it's a magical word. So any comments that you guys have about what we covered last time, I would appreciate it. During hours, after hours, you can always email me, and I'm always available to answer your responses. I may not have the answer, but I'll point you in the right direction. Okay. So God tells Isaiah that you're going to tell the people that they're going to be corrupt and that they will not listen to you, and they will continue to worship false gods. And this is very problematic, because you really don't expect a prophet to go out to the people and tell them that they are corrupt and that they're no good, because what will happen? They won't listen to you anyway, because they're just continuing to whatever they're doing. Okay? So it's kind of, this is the message, and that's a heavy message, and we know that Isaiah, this is the part of it. Now, not that we end in gloom and doom here, because as we know, the Haftarah from which this comes, chapter 6, has in addition, the rabbis didn't want to leave us with that message that the Aretz will be shmama, that everything will be desolate, and there's no hope for this nation. It does end on a positive note at the end of the parsha that Isaiah envisions the two separate divisions of Israel, Judah, and the 10 tribes will at one point come together. There will be peace, and there will be a holy city on the mountain. So there is hope here. The last few lines of the Isaiah 6. Okay, I'm looking at Isaiah 6. I did put the books out here, and I urge everybody to take a book. Let's finish it up. We will spend 10 minutes approximately finishing up Isaiah 6. Now, that's on page 202. Let me get it for Dave here. If you have Isaiah, it's chapter. Do you have Isaiah, Dave?
Yeah.
You don't. If you don't, I'll get it up here. Let me
You
get it.
can? Good.
Yeah, I'll get it up here. Share screen. All right, share. All right, where's my Isaiah? All right, let's see if I have Isaiah. Okay, here's Isaiah. All right. All right, let's see if I have it come up. All right, Isaiah. All right, share. All right, don't want that. Here's 6. Let me get it up, Dave. For some reason, I was able to get up last time. It's not up. I zoom. Let me get it up. Share. Here we go. It should be up now, Dave. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, it's up now. Okay. Verse 9, let me briefly review, because we're going to get to verse 9, 10, the last few verses. Verse 9, basically, God says, go say to the people, hear indeed, but do not understand. Okay. Shemu, Shema, v'al tavinu. Everybody should see that on verse number 9. And that's basically, that's the reverse of when we were at the at Mount Sinai. The moniker is that we will listen and we will do. Okay, this is just the opposite. We will listen and we won't do. Okay, this is what's happening here. Okay, and then the next one, verse 10. Hashmein lev ha'am, fatten up the people. In other words, fatten them up, make them dull, make them, like couch potatoes. Okay. Stop its ears, seal its eyes, seeing with its eyes and hearing with its ears. It also grasp with its mind. So basically, tell them that basically they're not going to understand anything I have to say, and unless they repent. Okay, v'shav v'rafa lo. Now, the key word, one of the key words, as I reread it again in preparation, is the word yoshev. The word yoshev. Yoshev, it starts off with God yoshev al kisei ram v'nisa. God is elevated on a elevated throne. Yoshev kisei ram v'nisa. He's elevated by everybody. And in comparison, the Jewish people are not sitting comfortably. They are basically, they're stranded. They have no focus for stability. Their lives are one of just seeking food and drink and corruption and stealing and worshiping false idols. So there's no place for them to sit. And the word shove, as we know, has another meaning. It means to come back. It means to repent. Okay. So, but Isaiah is saying here, in order to be able to face God and to feel comfortable with your Maker, as we hope to, not only on Yom Kippur, but on the rest of the year, you've got to feel a sense of stability, a sense of that you're sitting comfortably, okay? And that word shove comes up here, and it comes up, if you read it leisurely on your own, you will see that the yoshev is a very important metaphor, that if you're going to sit comfortably, you got to remember who you're sitting opposite. There's a famous phrase is, "Da lifnei mi ata omed," right? Know in front of whom you stand. You know, many synagogues have this on the ark. Know in front of who you stand. So that's
What exactly,
Yeah.
what page? Do you have any idea?
of what of
Isaiah chapter 6 is on page 303.
303.
303. Yeah.
What
Okay.
verse are we looking
Yeah.
at?
We're looking at verse 11 now. 11, 12. We did 10, 11. Okay. Okay, so I'm on verse, welcome Aviva. We're on a quick review of Isaiah before we launch into the other prophet. We go from prophet to prophet, hopefully profitable. It's a profitable experience. Okay. Okay. So and so in number 11, Isaiah is saying, "V'omar ad matai Adonai," God, how much longer? Okay, will this desolation take place till the towns lie waste without inhabitants? Again, me'ain yoshev. Again, a play on the word yoshev, that there won't be any people to inhabit. When you inhabit, you live in your home, you're comfortable, you're sitting comfortably, you're sitting on top of the world, okay, like God. But this is a people that will not have a permanent home. The Beit HaMikdash that God is towering over here will be destroyed. That is the clear intimation here, okay? And the houses will be without people, and the ground lies waste of Ha'adamah. This is on verse 11, Tisah Shmama, that the ground, the Adamah from Adam, will lie waste and desolate. This is very much like the admonition that I read at the end of Bechukotai, what's called the Tochacha, that God tells you, there will be no place for you guys to sit. You'll be wandering people. You'll be in exile. Okay, that's what he's saying here. And then number 12, Virachak Adonai et Adam, and God will distance himself from man. Okay, he'll banish himself. My translation is banish. Yours could be very similar. Veriba ha'azuva, and the desolation that will be many. Riba means Rabbah. Toda Rabbah. Abundant thanks. Okay, there you go. Yeah, Bekerav haaretz, and you will lie desolate in the midst of the land. You won't have any land. You won't have any agriculture. You guys are going to be permanent exiles. Okay. Now, this is very important. The Ode Ba, I'm reading number 12. Okay. The Ode Ba, 13, excuse me. Ode Ba Asirah, and still will come an Asirah, which means a tenth. Okay. So there'll be very few people left, a tenth of you. 90% will be intermarry, going to the other nations, worship the idols. You guys are lost, like the ones that worship the golden calf in the wilderness. Not a single one made it into the promised land. So you guys are a lost generation, to quote Gertrude Stein and Ernest Hemingway, a lost generation. Okay. Okay. Vayhi b'mei achaz, and it was, yeah, I'm sorry here, I'm going to number 7. So the 10th will yet remain. Veshava, there's the word Yoshe, Veshava, and there will be repentance, okay? And it shall repent. Veshava, Vahayata, Levaer, and it shall be ravaged like the terebinth and the oak. The Vahayata Levaer means consumed, to be ignited, to be consumed by fire. Like the terebinth. These are very strong, powerful trees, right? The oak tree, symbol of strength. Okay, the terebinth and the oak, asher bishalachet matzevet ba zera kodesh. Okay, and this is a little difficult, which will be like a shalechet, an exfoliation, meaning it loses all of its leaves. It'll be totally barren. Okay, that's what the nation. That's what God is saying. I'm going to basically exfoliate you, get rid of 95% of you, so that there will only be a few, the she'erit, there will only be a few of you left, okay? And you will be like a stump, a matzevet. You will be like a stump. Now, a stump can regenerate. We know that. There are stumps that do regenerate, okay? Zera kodesh matzavata. There will be a holy seed from this stump. Okay, so God this is a very pessimistic portion, I must say, and that's the reason the rabbis added an additional part to this Haftorah. Go ahead.
Tack a happy ending on it.
Yeah, you have to have a happy ending. Look, we're a happy ending people. I don't care, we're an amazing people. I just read something that Pascal, who was the most virulent anti-Semite, was asked by Louis XIV, Louis XIV, give me, Louis, Pascal, show me an example of the supernatural. And Pascal went like this. He says, I don't have to look, the Jewish people, they're supernatural. They've survived despite all odds. They're still here, even though I hate them. So the more they hate us, it seems the more that we get strength, and the more we survive, and the more that stump. Yeah, it pulls us more together. So this is Isaiah 6. Now, any comments before we launch into our good friend Alexander Pushkin of blessed memory? And Isaiah is of blessed memory. He's written so much, and Pushkin has written a lot too. Now, a brief little introduction to Pushkin. And I do have some notes here on Pushkin. I know I've done my homework. Okay, so Pushkin lived at the end of the 18th century, 1799 to 1837, 38 years, very short life. Is that unusual for a poet? Not really. Lord Byron, we know Lord Byron, 1708, he lived 36, Lord Byron, okay? But he accomplished a lot. Now, how did he do that? He was born into Russian nobility in Moscow. His maternal great-grandfather, okay, was Major General Abram Petrovich Ganibal. Ganibal rhymes with cannibal. So he was a black man from Africa, who rose up to be a nobleman around the Tsar Alexander. How did he do that? By excelling in warfare. He was a wonderful general like Hannibal. He used Hannibal's name. He changed Hannibal to Gannibal. So it's Abraham Petrovich Gannibal, nobleman, African origin, kidnapped by the Ottomans. The Ottoman Empire was the other strong empire. He was freed by the Russian emperor, raised in the emperor's court, sounds a bit like Moses, okay, as his godson. So this is the lineage from which Pushkin comes from. He is educated in the Lycée. Lycée is a French term. It was, we know that the Russian Catherine, they had a French period where they they borrowed a lot of the French culture. And of course, one of the things they borrowed was the Lycée, the idea of a high school dedicated to the elite, where they spoke French. So he grew up speaking only French. It was only by speaking to the serfs in the household that this guy learned pure Russian. He's a brilliant guy. He's pure brilliant. Okay. At an early age, he writes a poem called Ode to Liberty. And he publicly recited it. Okay, here's a man reciting it. Of course, Tsar Alexander and all of his retinue heard this. And of course, they were not too happy about it because, as we know, as Russia has a Soviet, my people from Russia, many of us are from Russia. We know that we have these oligarchs, we have these tyrants, we have these dictators, and that, and at an early age, Pushkin wrote a poem denouncing this tradition. And of course, what happened? He was asked to leave the court, and he was in exile. Okay, and he went to far reaches of Russia. He went down to Moldova, Belarus, where my people are from, and he spent many years there. Okay, and then he was found favor. I guess a lot of people took his cause and said, "Look, this, he's a kid. Give him a chance to come back. Yeah, he's the nobility. He can help the crown here." Okay. Now, in 2 years before this poem was written, 2022, there was a rebellion called the Decembrist Uprising of 1825. Sadly, it did not succeed. Obviously, it was a forerunner to the 1917 revolution against the Tsar, where the Tsar was beheaded. But this one was not successful. And of course, that set back the cause of Pushkin. Pushkin wanted to have a democracy, he wanted to have constitutional government, constitutional monarchy. The monarch was answerable to the Constitution. Okay. He's written plays. He's written Boris Godunov, which became an opera. Many people have heard of that. Now, what happened was the reason he died of an early age is because of a love affair. He was married to a very elegant woman, and it turns out that his sister's husband had an affair with his wife. And so that was the cause of a duel. And sadly, like Alexander Hamilton and Burr, again, over women, right, the same idea.
The time period.
Yeah, time period. You pulled out your pistols, and that was your honor. Your honor was your pistol. And so he was killed during this duel. So that's why I say shades of Alexander Hamilton. Okay.
How old was he when he was killed?
34, 35. I mean, here, 12 plus 24, 36, yeah. 38, excuse me, 38 years. Yeah, 38 years. 1799 Bruce to 1837. Okay, so here he is. Now, he writes a poem called The Prophet. Okay, he envisions himself in the role of a prophet. And our question is, how successful is he? We know that Isaiah is very successful as a prophet. I mean, this is true. I mean, I brought back the food from 613 this morning. One of the helpers there, they all speak Spanish, and he says, and his name is Izzy, is like Izzy. I said, now slow down. What is your name? He says, Izzy. I said, say again. He says, Isaiah. I said, wow, like Isaiah. So his name is Isaiah. So I said, I'm teaching your course today. I'm teaching Isaiah today. So it's a small world. Okay. And the other employees down there, there's an Isaac down there. So there's a lot of biblical down there. These people have taken over and they're doing a great job. They're not of our faith, but they're very close to our tradition, and they know when the holidays are, and they're strictly kosher and observant and so forth. They respect me because I'm a steady customer, and they're very happy to see me.
And it's named Israel.
Israel, a lot of Israel. Yeah, I mean, they borrow from us. Okay. So we have approximately a half hour to determine how successful Alexander Pushkin is. Okay. With that background in store, I'm going to call on my friend David we go back so many years, David. You and I can we're kind of prophets about Columbia, what's going to happen when may happen. Yes. Yes.
I went to a place called the Pushkin Museum.
Pushkin Museum, yeah. In Moscow. You were there in Moscow. Yeah. Yeah, it's the same one. Sure. Alexander Pushkin. Yeah, I mean, he's way up there. I mean, he's one of the proud, shall we say, luminaries that Mr. Putin is very proud of in the history, the long history of Russian culture. He's way up there. He's way up there. Like Lenin, I mean, Lenin Museum, and Stalin Museum. Yeah. I don't want to get off the track here. So I'll tell you a little story about my dad being the first group of doctors to visit the Soviet Union back to the time of Khrushchev, but that's a different story. That's going off. My dad is not in a museum. Okay. All right. So Dave, why don't you start off here with, let me pull it up for you. That'd be nice, right? All right.
Yes.
You have it on the screen now? If it's not on the screen, I'll get it on the screen. Sure. Um,
I have it.
you have it? You have it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you do have it. All right. Okay. So why don't you read?
Well, now I lost it.
Yeah, but I need for Helene. I need to get up
Oh,
for
okay.
Helene.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, wait a second. Let me pull it up here. Share. All right. Now where are we? Okay. Hey, Bruce, all the best. Thank you for being here. Okay. Am I getting here? Okay. Is it up now?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. All right. So why don't you read the first three lines? Okay. I'm going to call on people. There are plenty of lines here, but I want to give Dave a chance. Okay, go ahead.
Crazed, Alexander Pushkin, the prophet, crazed by my soul's thirst, through a dark land I staggered, and a six-winged seraph halted me at a
Okay,
crossroad.
let's stop here. Very good. Okay. Um, so uh praised by my soul's thirst. It- it's like the interpretation, I've read many interpretations, that he is a social uh, activist. He's social justice. He's for the people. He's for the serfs. He's for everybody to have liberty and everybody to have plenty of food on the table and have dignity. Okay, so he's crazed. His soul is searching for justice. Not, I mean, he's an aristocrat. No, I'm talking about the Am Aretz, the Erev, all the rest of the people. Okay, and he's through a dark land. I staggered. Okay, um, living in terrible times. Okay, uh, dark land. I mean, there's no light, there's no liberty, there's no soul, opportunity for the soul to develop. Go ahead. And a sixth-winged seraph. Okay, now this should ring a bell because the vision of Isaiah is six wings. You have two covering his face, two covering his legs, and then two to fly. Okay, so he does borrow that. And his six-winged seraph halted me at a crossroads. Now, the crossroads is very significant because that's used by Virgil, it's used by Dante when they're not quite sure where they're going. Are they going forward? Are they going backwards? Am I stuck in the past? Am I stuck in the present? Or can I break out of it and go into the future? So that's the idea of halted me at a crossroad. And I'm in a terrible quandary. I don't know which way to go. Okay, so you can understand where he is here. Okay, I'm going to call on Jonathan. Okay, do you have a copy of the? Everybody should have a copy of the. If you don't, where are we here? We should all have a copy. Okay, Okay, here, let me, you guys should have copies of this. Absolutely, go ahead, pass it out. I'm sorry, my error, okay. Now, I chose this particular translation. There are about a dozen translations. Ted Hughes is a very well-known American poet, and he's fluent in Russian, married to another poet, very famous poet.
Sylvia Plath.
What?
Sylvia Plath.
Sylvia. So exactly. And I chose him because he's fluent in American words. He's a wordsmith. Okay. Okay. So I called on. Who's next here? Who did I call on? Jonathan. Go ahead. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Now you're with fingers.
Yes.
Yeah.
With fingers of dream, he touched my eye pupils. My eyes, prophetic, recoiled like a startled eaglet.
Okay, let's stop here. Okay. With fingers of dream. Okay. What does that make you think of, Jonathan? Fingers of dream. I mean, what kind of a state is he in? Is he in a full awake state? I mean, we know that Isaiah was a visionary, and we know that visionaries in our Torah see God in dreams. Correct? Moses is the only one supposedly that saw God, the shadow of God. Okay, but the rest of us prophets, okay, our prophets, we have a dream. So he's in a dream state. Correct? He's with fingers of a dream. Okay. It's as if the seraph lightly touched the poet's eyes as dreams do. I have my own interpretation, and if you see it otherwise, please fill in. Okay. My eyes prophetic. There he goes. The first acknowledgement that he is a prophet recoiled. Okay. He's overwhelmed. Whatever he's seeing, very much like Isaiah, must be overwhelmed by these seraphim that are full of fire and God above the light. He's got to shield his eyes. Okay. Okay. Like a startled eaglets. Okay. Why the eagle?
Vision.
Aviva, why the eagle?
Eagle is a very sharp body.
Exactly. The prophetic, the eagle can see, they say miles ahead. Now, really. And I think of this expression, Exodus 19:4, Ve'eseh etchem al kanfei nisharim ve'eyeh itchem Eli. Correct? Did I pronounce it correctly? Yeah. And I will carry you, right, on the wings of an eagle. Okay. And I'll carry you towards me. So that's a beautiful vision. So, you can say, pardon?
This is the eagle running away.
Yeah.
He sees something that maybe
Well-
another small bird might not have seen, but the eaglet sees and flees to safety.
It's a recoil. Yeah, it's a recoil. Yeah. Yeah.
This is the process. It's about the process. Step. This is one of those steps. Okay, now we're going to see things. Profit until
Very good. You guys are on the right track. I like that. Yeah, I mean, you got to find your vision like Superman. You have to be able to have that X-ray vision, go through walls or whatever. Okay. All right. So now we're up to 9, 10. Moshe, you want to do number 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, go ahead.
Where it starts.
Okay, he touched my ears. Yeah. Like it's right after eaglet, eaglets, and then he touched my
Ears and a thunderous clamor filled them. The shroudings of heaven, huge movement of angels.
Okay, all right. So, wait, here. Okay. He touched the poet's ears. Is that a good sign? Bad sign? What do you think? The touch of the poet. Now there is a play called The Touch of the Poet, right? On Broadway. All right, so he touches his ears. Moshe, you can look at it both ways, right? He touches his ear, meaning that he has vision. He's able to hear things that the human
Yes.
cannot hear. It's pointing towards vision,
Yes.
prophecy. Okay, that's what
Enhanced senses.
senses. It has acute senses, extra sensory perception, which is what these poets do. Poets in general do have that, and he's an extreme poet, if you will. Okay, and a thunderous clangor filled them. Okay, clangorous. That's what Ted Hughes. I mean, Ted Hughes. Thunderous clangor. A clangor is a really harsh sound, thunderous, thunder and lightning, like you're at Sinai. It's scary stuff here, right? Fear and trembling, fear and foreboding. I mean, he's not quite sure what to expect, but he has this vision. Okay. The shudderings of heaven, the shudderings. Okay. Shuddering is a sound, vibration, shudder. Okay. This reminds me of Isaiah mentions that the walls of the temple shuddered from last time. So this is building on that. And then you finish with the huge wing beat of angels. Okay. Okay. What does that make you think of? Huge wing beat of angels. I mean, it's
It tells you that this is going to be awesome.
yeah,
As in,
whatever he's going
not as
to.
in a lot of fun, but as in, you're about to see something.
I mean,
that's
wing beat.
on, beyond, and outside.
I mean, we
understand.
cannot comprehend the seraphim, the vision that he had. I mean, we just don't. I mean, people like Ezekiel can, and Isaiah can, but this very high vision of sound and light, and it's awesome. I mean, it's fear and trembling, and yet you're hineni. I'm here. I'm accepting everything that's coming in because that's what I'm supposed to do. I mean, that's the high level of spirituality that we're talking about. The huge wing beat of angels, frightening. Okay, all right. So now we're up to. Barbara, we haven't called on you yet. The submarine. You see
Yeah.
where the submarine is?
Submarine migration of sea reptiles and the burgeoning of the earth's vine. He forced my mouth wide.
Okay, let's just stop here. Okay, the submarine migration of sea reptiles. Okay, wow. All of a sudden, has vision of the Shemayim, the heavenly spheres, and the angels up here, the eagles up here, and suddenly he gives you a vision of like a Leviathan type experience. I mean, something big, awesome. Sea reptiles, the submarine migration. Ted Hughes, submarine migration. It's under the water, yeah, and they're sea reptiles, but yet he's able to see them, and it's a frightening experience. Okay, so I think what he's showing here is that you have both the Shemayim and you have the heavenly spheres, and then you have the lower spheres. You have the waters involved here. So it's a whole experience of nature in front of this poet. The tremendous vision that he's having. Okay. All right. Now, go ahead. Continue, Barbara. You and the burgeoning. Go ahead.
In the burgeoning of the earth's vine, he forced my mouth wide, plucked out my own cunning.
Okay. All right. The burgeoning of the earth's vine. Question. Burgeoning. Burgeoning. How do we take burgeoning? Anybody?
It's like swollen, bloated, and wide, and full.
Yeah, but also, right.
Right, as if it's going to-
Expanding.
So
It's gonna
It's expanding, but it's a vine, and vines are, they're healthy. They're healthy. They're
a
good.
healthy vine
Yeah.
is gonna It'll grow to cover the whole wall.
It's awesome. It's just, it's a,
Just
he-
keeps going.
he's got to be dumbstruck with this huge vine, okay? Forced my mouth wide, okay? Barbara, you were here last time.
He did even more than that, because he took us through a process.
Took us where?
He took us through different steps of sensitivity and then the senses, and then he took us from up here, down here, and he went below to the sea, and now he's back up again.
He's back up in,
No, he's back up again when he starts with the earth vine, so it's as if.
Well, not really. The earth spine is the end of what he does, right? Look at the way it's laid out. What he does to the ear, right, to the hearing. You have the shudderings of heaven, wing beat of angels, but also sound under the sea, and a sort of, the vines are growing so rapidly, they're making a sound too. So he's trying to cover all the possible sounds, and then that's the end of that thought. And now he goes on to speaking.
okay.
That's why the period is there.
Yeah.
But then he brings me
It
back up
is an
again.
all-encompassing, when you got an all-encompassing experience, the heaven, the sea, and now his, land, if you will. I
Vine,
mean,
right.
vines are growing on
That's
land.
right.
Yeah, they're land. So it's a comprehensive view of nature, in awe. He's in awe of nature. Okay. Now okay, Barb, let me go on to, Susan. Susan, continue with, he forced my mouth.
Forced my mouth wide, plucked out my own cunning, garrulous evil tongue, and with bloody fingers between my frozen lips.
Okay, let's just stop here. He forced my mouth wide. Does that sound like Isaiah, what we just read last time? And how does that relate to his? Here you have the seraph. It's a seraph that's forcing his mouth open, and the mouth is a source of words. It's
Yeah,
a source
ultimately of prophecy.
Prophet.
If you're going
of
to
prophecy.
you need a
Yeah,
new mode of speech. We have to get rid of your current tongue and replace it with a serpent's tongue.
you have to. He plucked out my cunning. My cunning could be interpreted as my sinning, my evil words, my evil intentions. Okay. He plucked out my own cunning. Okay. Garrulous. Okay. Continue. Did you do garrulous? Garrulous meaning talking a lot without any purpose.
Yeah.
So he's kind of like Isaiah in chapter 6, where Isaiah said, "I'm just like one of them. I have an evil tongue, and my tongue is evil. So
How am I different?
why me?" Again here, it's a kind of humility. Look, I effed up as an early age. I didn't learn to keep my mouth shut. I'm in exile, age 16. So, I mean, he's a young guy. He's in exile. He's far from the court, and because I couldn't keep my mouth shut. I mean, that's basically okay. And go ahead, continue. Who hasn't? Okay, Stuart, and with bloody fingers.
And with bloody fingers between my frozen lips, inserted the fork of a wise serpent.
Okay, very good. Bloody fingers. Okay.
I make note, more so than the Bible, these are images that tell a great deal of violence, it seems to me.
Yeah, they do here, and it's going to get a little bit more violent, a little bit more violent than Isaiah. Okay. And question is why? What's he trying to tell us? Does that make him more an authentic prophet? I mean, there are indications that he does believe in a supernatural force of God that's behind all this. Okay, because he is borrowing from Isaiah. After all, he could have been borrowed from anybody, but he borrows from a really prophet, a very revered prophet. Okay, bloody fingers. Okay, that's not a good sign, bloody fingers, because that implies guilt, blood and guilt. Okay, so he's been guilty of something. Okay,
If you rip somebody's tongue out, your hand is going to have blood on it. Their blood.
Well, okay, but yeah, okay, but you have bloody fingers going in, frozen lips, meaning that he's speechless at this point. He cannot prophesize at this point. He's just in total awe. What's going on here? What am I supposed to think? What am I supposed to feel? I mean, I'm getting all these visions here. Okay. So he's frozen. He's unable to speak. Inserted the fork of a wise serpent. Whoa. Inserted the fork of a wise serpent. Is that a positive image? Is it a negative? Could it be both? Could be both. Right. Inserted the fork.
Serpents aren't too wide.
I mean, he's getting rid of his tongue.
Yes, they are, Susan.
They are
Well,
wise and
certainly they are.
they're
Speak,
wise
they
and
are.
they're magical.
No,
Yeah.
they are in
Oh,
the
they're cunning.
mythology,
They're cunning.
in the
Very
mythology of many peoples, they worship this.
Oh, I know.
But he speak with forked tongue.
Yes.
I mean, it goes both ways. I mean,
It takes us to
yeah.
say it, takes
Yeah,
us all the
yeah,
way back to God.
They say the devil the devil appears like a saint. Okay, so inserted the fork of a wise serpent. In other words, instead of my cunning, my evil, then maybe give me the wisdom, looking at the positive side, of a serpent. Okay, now I'm going to do this one because this really blew my mind. He split my chest with a blade, wrenched my heart from its hiding. He split my chest with a blade, wrenched my heart. In other words, I'm getting the sense here of, like many of these country western singers, they had these songs about my lion, my cheating heart, my lion, my cheating heart. And there's women out there are trying to tell me, no good, I'm no good. And that's what's implied here. He goes further than Isaiah by having the seraph wrench out his heart from its hiding place, and which hiding it's in shame almost. It's in shame. Yeah.
But there's also the theme of replacement. Each of his.
You're moving ahead. That's good. Yeah, very good. Very good. You got to put something in there. You're going to put a hot coal in there. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
Pushkin seems to be
Bionic
justifying
prophet.
his own actions while he was in exile. He talks about his pure heart. In other words from him are godly, and words from the outside are of the devil.
Well, he's saying, look, I'm like everybody else in a sense. I speak with forked tongue. I'm a liar. I'm a cheater. I have a heavy tongue. But it's not enough to deal with my tongue. Get to my essence. Who you are is really in your heart. Your tongue expresses who you are, but your heart, what lies in your heart? Only they say talumot. Only God knows all of these hidden thoughts of man. But he's very, very introspective here. He's saying, "Let's split my chest." And I'm thinking of the treaty between Abraham's treaty, the treaty of the parts, the treaty of the parts. That there's a covenant here. That God has Abraham split open a bird. Was it a bird?
No.
Yeah. But it could be it's an animal. I think it's an animal. It's an animal. Yeah, an animal split open, and that's a covenant of the parts. Okay, and this is in a sense it's a covenant. I want to speak the truth, but I don't know what it is. And I'm guilty like everybody else, but let's get rid of my heart. Let's put it in my heart. And what are you going to put instead? Eileen, go ahead. He split my chest with a blade and wrenched. Go ahead. Wrenched. You see where it says wrenched?
Wrenched my heart from its hiding, and into the open wound pressed the flaming coal.
Okay, let's just stop here. Yeah, wrenched my heart from his heart, and into the open wound pressed a flaming coal. Does that sound familiar from Isaiah?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is almost verbatim the flaming coal that the seraph puts into the mouth of Isaiah in order to purify his tongue. So he'll speak the truth, okay? And that's very similar here. It's almost the same. He puts a flaming coal, okay? So I'm trying to be an honest prophet. Find me an honest prophet. Yeah, yeah, the Statue of Liberty. Right. Yeah, so I mean it's a little bit I hate to say it, but tongue in cheek. Okay. Whoa. A little bit tongue in cheek here. No, I mean he's playing with words, but I think he's very sincere. The impression I get, he's very sincere and he's very hurt what he sees around him in the form of Alexander and his entourage ruling the aristocracy ruling with iron fist the whole Russia spread out huge country. Okay, okay. Now we finally get to Viva. Okay, go ahead.
I lay on stones like a corpse.
Yeah,
There's
okay.
God.
One line by line, you're going to do more. I lay on stones like a corpse. Okay. Go ahead. Continue. Next one. Go ahead.
There God's voice came to me.
Okay.
Stand.
All right. So let's talk those lines. You can do two more. Okay. I lay on stones like a corpse. There God's voice came to me. Okay. What do you make of that? Does it ring a bell? Is it the image of I lay on stones like a corpse?
Yeah.
There God's voice came to me. Okay. I mean, up until now, it hasn't been God's voice. It's been his vision. Up until now, he's not quite sure if he's a prophet or not. But it took that vision of ripping out his heart, putting in that coal, more an even stronger image than Isaiah, I must say. Much stronger than Isaiah. Putting in a coal to get rid of the yeah, I mean, starting fresh. And only then he hears God's voice came to me. Okay. And what does God's voice say? Stand.
You are my will.
Okay. Stand, prophet. You are my will. Okay.
He made it.
Stand. You are my will. Okay. So you're my man. The question is, does Isaiah, Pushkin ever say hineni, anything like that? Okay. That's a good question, right? He says, stand, prophet, you are my will. Okay. Stuart, next line.
There God's voice came to me. Stand, prophet, you are my will. Be my witness. Go through all seas and lands with the word.
Okay. Stand, prophet, you are my will. Be my witness. Go through all sea and lands with the word. The word. Okay. How does this poem end? Does it end with hope? Here's one man's heart that's been ripped out and has been replaced by the hot coal of truth and MS, if you will, and purity. What else? I mean, it's pure. He's trying to get a pure soul. So he gets rid of his old soul, puts in like a new soul, and only then does God stand up and say, "You are my man. Be my witness." He says, "I want you to say what needs to be said. Go through all seas and lands with the word." Now, what is the word? What is the word? What do you guys feel is the message that he's going to give? Is it a positive message? Is it one of desolation, of shmama, of desolation, that there's no hope, that man's heart will always be corrupt? Or is there an image of that man's heart? The heart of man will be lit up with a pure heart, with hope and dignity and sincerity.
I think it's a little of both. I think that he has to he has to illuminate what he's seeing in front of him and talk and say that it's going to go through stages until God is able to make it better for you. So I think that the role of a prophet is to see and tell what's in front of them, the consequences, and the redemption on the other side. So there's always hope, but there's always a journey, and the journey is often messy and painful and purifying when you get to the end.
So Viva sees both sides. Okay.
So-
She,
So I can get, yeah, I can see both sides of it, because prophets don't just kind of walk around and say, don't worry, everything's gonna be great. They usually come with brimstones and then tell you at a later date, but don't worry, God always comes back.
so at this point, God makes Pushkin, the prophet, his man to go out into the world, and what you experienced in your vision, somehow translate that into the fallen state of man, if you will. Go out and preach light, preach cleanliness, preach purity, preach suffer, and like I hate to say Christianity, suffer your sins. You'll achieve a higher life. That's not our philosophy.
I think that's it. It sounds the same, but it's different because the process is different. Prophet teaches is you may have to live through this, but you and your offspring get a chance to understand what's going on here. So the suffering, prophet's not so much worried about the physical suffering as he is about the soulful suffering.
About with the
soulful suffering.
the soul suffering. Yeah.
Soulful suffering. And I think that's he gives it back to you. You may say, oh, and this is destroyed and this is destroyed and this is destroyed, but he's not the general of the army. He's really talking about what it does to society and what it's doing to you. So.
Dave, I was going to ask you, Dave, you have any comments?
Yes.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, I think the important thing in his life is that in this Decembrist movement that you talked about, I think he was, outside the group when there was this uprising. I don't know whether he was in jail, but
Correct. That's correct. He
he,
avoided jail. Yeah.
yeah, he was saved. And so he couldn't claim to be a hero or a martyr. These outside forces got him on the right path. And he implies that he was saved by God. He did what he could do for reform, but a frontal approach was not a good idea. He felt that a literary approach was a better idea. And he put his experiences in a poem that cries out for serious contemplation and a more heartfelt expression rather than a literary exercise. It's sort of uh, like the poets during Stalin's era. They were very subversive, but Stalin caught on them, caught them and said, "Hey, I don't like what you're saying, so I'm going to get rid of you as well." So it's sort of the idea that he had to approach this, in a different way. For example, in our culture, in the Revolutionary War, Paine, was he wasn't writing poems, he was writing polemics. So the scene in revolutionary America was not as severe as it was in Russia, so they could say what they felt. His poetry, the importance of it, I think it tells you what's going on in the country and how he can obliquely express those feelings. It's obvious in the poem, well, not obvious, but God did a tremendous engineering job on him. He didn't just do his tongue; he did everything to put him on the path, on the right and narrow path. So that's basically, what I saw in it.
Yeah, I see him much more as of a social activist than Isaiah. Isaiah, this
Right.
man really went out and he protested. He protested. Uh, he wanted to get rid of the crown, the czar. I mean, like a Jabotinsky, if you will. He was
Yeah.
really a right hand guy. I mean,
Yeah.
sword, and we probably would have gone to battle. I don't know. I don't know that he went to battle like his great grandfather, Gannibal, but he certainly had that as a guiding light. That is, he came from a very noble family, but a family that was military, and the only way to topple uh, governments these days is through military means. Uh, he
It-
does cover his, uh, he covers himself very well by using the aura of Isaiah and Isaiah's language and his vision in order to show how vehement he is
Right.
about social change, that it begins in the individual with the heart and the tongue. Your tongue basically follows what you feel. And he's
Right.
getting really deep stuff. This is deep stuff. You kill people with words. Uh, that's very, very true. You do kill people with words, but obviously you kill people with physical activity, which he did not do. But
I think the other point you made that was really good is it sort of seems like a mystery who gets chosen, and the prophets resist. Look at Jonah, look at, even Moses said, this wasn't for me,
all
It-
the great prophets, yeah, they've
you know,
shown
uh, so I don't know, it's a mystery, who God picks.
well,
Uh,
from prophet to prophet. I think we have learned a lot. We've internalized a lot. Basically, what I'm trying to do, and I think others that here is try to internalize the messages and really look into our own hearts as to what we really believe and
yes.
act on it. And that's very difficult. Here's a man that really believed and he acted on it. He
Well,
acted.
don't you think in this society right now, action and purpose are really important instead of, the concern I think a lot of people have is this isolation that we've put on ourselves with the internet or the phone. And, this has really impacted us in a way that's not very good. And what the government and the Trumpsters seem to be pushing on us to create this chaos and confusion. And, we're befuddled, we're paralyzed,
I
and we
think what
don't.
you said, and I'll end on this note, is that we have social platforms, and the social platform that we would like to see is like what Teddy Roosevelt. He had a pulpit, he had a bully, and he got out there and he got out in public, and he acted the role of somebody that wanted change. Uh, he was a bully.
Yep.
He's a bully out there. And of course, we have a bully that leading the country right now. But that's just the way it is. That we've allowed a bully to dominate our politics, and meanwhile, we are distanced from it. We have social platforms. We have X. We got Reddit. We've got all these social platforms, and that sadly does not really put us where we need to be.
Yeah.
We need to be out there and protesting. Yeah. I think that's what I'm learning through this experience with these two poets, is that you got to get out there. You got to,
Yep.
you know,
Gotta act.
one of my new monikers, Dave, is, and I share this with everybody, is act as I do, not as I say. Yes, I do. Get out there and act, do something, okay? You can keep talking about it all day long on TV or whatever. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Fun.
Just
Thank
say what you
all.
want to do next time. I'm at a loss as to where we should go, but I really enjoyed these two sessions. Thank you, everybody.
Like-
Thank you, Dave. We'll be in touch. Yeah.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you all. Enjoyed joining you.
Yeah.